Hey gang, Melissa Hinault here with the Burnout to All Out podcast. I'm a mom of three, corporate burnout that built a secondary six-figure income around my 9 to 5 with little kids. This set me free and allowed me to fire my boss and pursue my wildest dreams. It took grit, persistence, and belief. But now, operating multiple six-figure businesses as an online entrepreneur and business coach, I have become a serial entrepreneur with a passion to inspire more burnouts to take the leap and go all out and live out their dreams. Each week, I'll bring you inspiring all-out guests, lifestyle business tips, and tools to empower you to take the leap from burnout employee to all-out entrepreneur, making your passion your paycheck. If this mom of three, corporate burnout, can go all out, so can you.
All right, guys, this is a Tough Love podcast about giving a damn about yourself. I want you to listen in. I think a lot of people, this whole term self-love it can be perceived a couple of different ways, but I really challenge you in this podcast to think about how taking care of this vessel, this human body of yours, and how taking care of it and making it a priority actually creates a massive ROI, return on investment, in your business. I think many entrepreneurs, especially moms, juggling it all, slowly give away themselves and slowly, create less and less priority over themselves. And this is for entrepreneurs as well as just, moms in general. I think this speaks to both. The bottom line is we have this one life to live. We have this one vessel that we need to take care of so that energetically we can show up as the best versions of ourselves for not only our families, but also our businesses. So I want you guys to listen in on kind of my core concepts and some life hacks. And I encourage you to go on this journey with me to improve giving a damn about yourself so that you can live happier, healthier, and wealthier while in the process working less. Love to hear after the episode is over, you guys come share on media and tag me what you learned and what you're applying. Good morning. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a good segment, guys. So first and foremost, I'm just going to give you a heads up that there is a lot of construction going on in my backyard. This series of podcasts that you guys hear, you might hear some banging and clanging and shoveling and grinding going on in the backyard. That is real world quarantine, right? Everybody working from home. But you know what? Also, I am going to hear that noise and it's music to my ears and gratitude. It's actually gratitude that we have the ability to really fuel the economy, to be paying a lot of contractors to be in our backyard right now, building our dream pool, dream oasis, where, actually it's kind of a nice entryway into my recording today because it's all about really giving yourself space so that you can show up in abundance and actually do more, be more, and make more money by pouring more into yourself, and so we're going to dive into that today. But as I look out into our backyard and I see all this incredible construction and kind of dream home things going on, and reflect that I'm actually working less than ever, making more than ever, and spending more time with myself and pouring into myself than ever before, and happier and healthier than ever before. I couldn't think of a better way to kick it off. So there you go. As you hear the drills and the shovels and anything else in the background, just to see it as music to our ears of success, of doing things the right way and having that abundance mindset and abundance of opportunity to live all out and just make space in your life for abundance. Okay, so the podcast today. It's, I've titled it, Give a Damn About Yourself, right? Give a damn about yourself. I am on a crusade this year to educate, especially women, more about giving a damn about themselves and their money confidence. So if you see that kind of come through in a lot of my podcasts, that's why. So here it goes. I want to inspire all of my listeners, men and women, to love your life enough to give a damn about yourself. Give more of a damn about yourself. See, here's the deal. Slowly over a decade, I slipped away from making myself a priority, giving more and more as an employee, climbing the ranks, giving more and more as a mother, as a boss. And slowly over time, looking in the mirror and looking at my life and not realizing it, but I didn't recognize it anymore. I was loving and caring for myself less and less as I piled on more and more responsibility, making myself less of a priority. Is this resonating with some of you guys? And it's not like I flipped a switch and overnight I was giving less to myself. It was more of a slow progression. Week over week, month over month, year over year, the kids getting, believe it or not, older. They're demanding when they're little, but the older they get, the more activities they're in, the school involvement as a parent, the more demands of my job as I climbed the ranks, as there were pressure for promotions. The more I did, the more I was expected to do, especially with women having to overwork and outperform just to be considered for certain roles. There's a lot of data on this and the amount of work that women put into being promoted versus men. And then there's, some of you have aging parents or needs from others. I, over the years have, I have a sister who has mental illness and a father who's an alcoholic. I've dealt with parents in the ICU and sisters in the mental illness ward, right? And just yanked in a million different directions, slowly losing my own path and having not drawn a line across the sand for my own prioritization of needs, right? So I want to ask this rhetorical question. And that this really makes me reflect back onto my career, because a lot of you guys are still working full time, and a lot of you even are, hustling full time in your social selling businesses. Why is it that in the pursuit of acquiring success, whether that's things, money, titles, you name it, so many of us sacrifice our health, whether it's mental or physical or both, right? Day by day, bit by bit, slowly sacrificing and giving away and selling a little bit more of ourselves away for the ranks, for the titles, for the things, for keeping up with the Joneses, right? So here's the thing. For the longest time, I was in a cycle of just giving up. I was in a cycle of giving up sleep to meet unrealistic deadlines in my day job, keeping up with my boss's emails, not wanting to miss anything, or even colleagues. Teachers' emails. Are they not bananas right now, especially if you have multiple kids in multiple classrooms? Keeping up with that, losing sleep. How many of you have lost sleep, like staying up late, like homemade crafting for birthday parties? Pinterest has become my enemy. It gave me as a young mom, it gave me I don't even know what the word is for it, anxiety for the perfection of things. But here's the thing. Those perfect parties that you're trying to host using Pinterest, is it for you? Are you enjoying it? Or is it for the perception of others? We're going to get into this a little bit later, but I challenge my clients to ask themselves, are you doing this for you? Or are you doing this for the way you because of how you want other people to perceive you, right? So other things that kept me up when I talk about giving up sleep, responding to everyone who needed me on my phone, especially those of you who are juggling a day job and a social selling business. How many of you are way too available in the DMs, way too available via text? Gosh, there were years where when I was juggling both my network marketing business and my day job, I was up late hours, responding to text messages and Facebook messages and all the things. I had no rules or priorities around my sleep. I would stay up till I felt like I, quote unquote, needed to or had to, and then crash and burn, right? What else was I slowly giving up and cycle over and over and over again? Workouts. How many of you give up workouts because you felt like your family needs you more during that time frame, whether it's early in the morning or late in the evening or on the weekends, or because you feel like, especially on the weekends, well, there's so much that needs to get done, right? As if your health is not a priority, as if the laundry is more important than this vessel that has to carry you through this earth indefinitely until you die, right? Think about it that way. Or what about giving up workouts just because of the guilt of being away? How many of you have the guilt of being like, gosh, I just can't leave my spouse at home with the kids right now, right? Another thing of a cycle of giving up. Another cycle of giving up is staying focused on eating right. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but the reality is what you eat fuels you and allows you to perform either at your highest version of yourself or not so high a version of yourself. Because when you're feeding yourself garbage, that impacts your energy, it impacts your mental state, it impacts your business. I'm here to tell you, it impacts your business. So how many of you have given up on who has time to cook? I'll just eat the frozen pizza with the kids. Who has time to meal plan, right? Who, or the family complains about the healthy food, right? But here's the thing. Here's my rhetorical question for the cycle of giving up. If any of this resonates with you, I want you to pause and think for just a minute. Have you ever thought that instead of giving up on these things that are actually super important that we're going to talk about in a bit, have you actually thought that maybe you've just piled too much shit on yourself? Have you ever thought that maybe you've just piled up too much responsibility, too many things that you're owning in your life, and that maybe some of it you could let just fall off the table? Guys, when I focused on my calendar, the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, I highly recommend it for all of you guys who work full time. That book changed my life and made me realize that there were a lot of things, like I felt like I was overly busy. I had too much to do and I wasn't taking care of myself because I wasn't making it a priority like I should, because I wasn't thinking about the fact that my body, my health, my energy is how I manage it is a massive ROI on my business and my family and my life. We'll talk about family life in my next podcast. But the bottom line is when you show up and make your health a priority, what I want you to think about is you are investing in your business. Because don't you think you're going to have brighter ideas, you're going to respond better, you're going to be more bubbly and energetic in front of prospects, you're going to deliver better services in your business when you're healthier? It took me a long time to get to this point that making my nutrition and my movement and my sleep and my hydration as important as showing up on camera to deliver for my clients. When I realized that it was an income producing activity to take care of this vessel because it had a massive ROI when I made it a priority, that changed everything. And I want this to get through to some of your thick skulls, because I know some of you think the self-love is like bullshit, right? Some of you think this self-love thing is like so overrated. Well, set that aside. And I want you to think about it as an investment and ROI in your business to take care of your human body, right? Okay. Oh my gosh. I can get really passionate about this because you guys know I'm like big in health and wellness anyway. Okay. So here's the thing. Let me go back. So have you ever thought that maybe you just have too many things in your calendar, too many things you're owning that you need to pawn off or clear out? And that's not for this podcast. You guys can go back to my time management podcast. I've done 2 of them now to help you make space for some of the things we're going to talk about today. But a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is more about priority than it is time. It's more of like this versus that, right? And mindset of how you're investing in yourself physically. So here's the thing. You have this one body to carry you through a lifetime, okay? A lifetime. And it just dawned on me when I was laying in the bed last night thinking about recording this podcast today. I'm 41, you guys. I am 41 years old. I may rightfully be nearly halfway through my time on this planet, which sounds crazy to say out loud. Sounds crazy. But there's one thing I've learned in the last 2 years, and that's made a major shift to my self-love and self-care. And that is that it's not selfish at all. It's not selfish at all, because there's one thing I've learned in the last 2 years, that I've made a major shift to self-love and self-care. And that is that it's not selfish at all. Hear me out when I say this loud and proud. I work less now than ever, but I'm actually healthier, happier, and wealthier than ever. I'm going to say that one more time. In the last 2 years, I've progressed to I work less now than ever, but I'm actually healthier, happier, and wealthier than ever. And everybody wants to know like my business tactics and my tricks and tips to be an online entrepreneur. Guys, the gold is in what I'm about to tell you, which is not business specific at all. And it has everything to do with prioritizing yourself, your health, right? And here's the thing, by making my health and my happiness a priority versus fitting it around my job, my kids, my spouse, I show up better for everyone, and I love everyone that I serve with energy and excitement. And again, I'm going to really dive into that in my next podcast, that ripple effect. But right now, I want to dive a little bit deeper into this physical and mental health mission to preserve and excel your business. And when you can make your physical and mental health a priority, when you feel like it's adding time to your day to focus on yourself, what I want you to realize on the back end is you'll scale down less time in your business because you operate at a higher level, because you will perform better at work, needing less time to accomplish tasks with more mental acuity and have more innovation and a heightened agility to adapt. And when shit hits the fan with people, maybe you have HR issues or people aren't getting along, I am here to tell you that you can respond and adapt a lot better when you've been taking care of yourself, when you are nourished, when you've slept well, when you've poured into yourself. You're less likely to trigger and respond in a way that later you wish you hadn't, right? You improve relationships in your household because your cup is full. Again, I'm going to dive into this in a future podcast, but your energy can be a luminary in your household. Moms, have you ever noticed how your vibe affects the entire household when you wake up in the morning? If you wake up and you've had a crappy morning, doesn't it just ripple right into the family, right? Loving and caring for yourself can really improve the relationships around you. Tenfold ripple effect. We'll talk about this more in the next podcast, right? Okay. So here's the other thing. You get to live longer, healthier lives and spend the later years of your life that you've worked so hard to achieve. Like, don't you want to have a healthy body to go do that? Think about all of you are online entrepreneurs racing to time freedom, racing to financial freedom, racing for this passive income. But are you taking care of yourself, or are you feeding yourself garbage and not fueling yourself properly, getting proper sleep, so that at the end of this pursuit of happiness, if you have all this money in the bank, but you're sick as hell and inflamed and can't travel and can't do the things you wanted to do, what was it for? What was it for, right? So think about the long-term effect and think about your grandchildren, right? Do you want to walk them down the aisle? Do you want to be rolling around? I think about this a lot. When I look at my parents and grandparents and I look at my friends' parents, some of us, our parents still have their youth, and they can roll around and play with the grandkids and even babysit the grandkids because they're healthy. right? Like my mother-in-law still teaches ski instruction. She hikes, she's on a bicycle every day, and she can come down here and watch our kids for an entire week while we travel, right? But there are other parents or grandparents out there whose health is so out of check by the age of 60 that the idea of keeping up with toddlers or smaller children is beyond fathoming, right? I want you to fast forward yourself 20 years from now. Which grandparent are you going to be based on how you took care of yourself, right? Okay, so enough on that. So here's the other thing, being an example to set for your children, right? To make yourself a priority, especially girls. I watched my mom kill herself trying to be all things: housekeeper, cleaner, bookkeeper for the finances, child rearer, event planner for everyone with 4 kids, all while working full time. It's no wonder she struggled so much with her health, with her weight, with her mental wellness most of her life. It's because she put so much pressure on herself to be and do all things and left nothing for herself. Nothing, right? And until a couple of years ago, I looked in the mirror and realized I was mirroring the same behavior, just in a high-power career, leaving nothing for myself, with the tank empty, leaving you resentful. But even though the tank is empty, tired and exhausted, but restless and can't sleep because the mind's constantly running, right? So here's the thing. I want my daughter to see that you can be resourceful, to be a kick-ass mom and a business owner without slowly losing yourself in the process, okay? Without slowly losing yourself in the process. That I want her to see that it's not only okay, but you should take time to take care of yourself, right? When we think about it, I think about just my social network of people. The men I know, don't even blink at the idea of disappearing and playing golf for 5 hours on a Saturday. They don't even consider it, right? Whereas a woman can agonize over disappearing for an hour or two to exercise or get a massage, right? And so this is a pattern that we must interrupt, and we must be examples for our girls and boys. I want my boys to see that this is how queens live. This is how women live who've shown up in life, and they have set themselves up to be a priority in their life so that they can show up best to serve those around them, their families, and their business. So I'll say this one more time, and then I'm going to jump into some advice. So taking care of your vessel, which is you, is the biggest income producing thing you can do for your business or your job. And it's the best thing you can do to enhance your relationships, okay? So the next time you want to push off that workout, or you want to reach for that pizza because it's easier, or tell yourself you're going to stay up for 1 more hour to get through 10 more messages and things to do, I want you to remind yourself of the ROI, return on investment, for giving a damn for yourself. So let's break it down. You guys might want to get pen and paper out. I'm going to be talking about your health specifically, and then time management, some life hacks that I use that I think you guys could benefit from hearing about too. So let's start with water intake. Most of us aren't consuming nearly enough. And we're on conference calls. Many of you who work from home and you're managing your kids' schoolwork, you're on Zooms all day long. So a life hack that I have now is just keeping an excess amount of water in my office, because once I'm on screen, it could be a couple hours before I can walk away. And I want to stay hydrated. Number 2, sleep. Guys, sleep is a major priority in our house, especially for me. My husband and I laugh that I have this, I call it a healthy obsession. He might think it's an unhealthy obsession with going to bed super early. Like my oldest child goes to bed at 8:45, and I literally, my head hits the pillow and I'm out by 9 every single night, right? But I know that I'm building a multi-million-dollar business this year. And the best thing I can do for my business is make sure I'm getting adequate sleep so that when the demands of the day hit me and I wake up, I can respond like the CEO that I am because I have filled my cup up. There is no better health benefit than good sleep. Lots of good data behind it. I'm not going to get into it today, but I am an early to bed, early to rise girl. Always have, always will be. Let's talk about alcohol, right? So consider reducing your alcohol intake. A lot of people drink it just to unwind in the afternoons and evenings. There's detrimental effects to your body. It's a toxin, right? I enjoy my wine as well, but if you can table it for the weekends and shift to something different to wind down with, or drink your alcohol earlier, like 4 or 5 o'clock, where it's metabolized and out of your body so it doesn't interrupt your sleep pattern when you go to bed at night, right? The biggest mistake people have is they have a nightcap of alcohol after their kids are in bed, and it actually disrupts your sleep and makes your sleep not as good. So if I'm going to have a glass of wine, I like to have it between 4 and 5 o'clock while I'm cooking dinner. And then a nightcap of tea that's soothing and helps you sleep versus alcohol. So I've got this golden tea that I love that's got turmeric in it and coconut, and it's delish. And my kids like to drink it with me. What about less TV and more books at night? Again, another thing we know there's a lot of data on, but staring at electronics, including TV, especially depending on the content on the TV at night, can impact your sleep. When you're watching the boob tube and the last thing you do is turn it off before you go to bed, and then your head starts to race, you've given your brain no space or time to think, right? We live such a fast-paced world. That's the other thing I'm obsessed with when I get up in the mornings is complete silence for 15 minutes. I sit in my office with a cup of coffee in the dark and give my mind time to move and flex and think and pontificate. And I do the same thing at night. The reason I go to bed at 9 p.m. is because I like to lay there for 15 minutes in the dark and unwind and run through and have gratitude for my day and for what's ahead, right? So consider putting away the TV and even picking up books during the week as a bedtime routine. If you can find some things you're really into, you can really get into reading at night, right? Instead of sitting there and watching the TV. And then I was going to also mention just grounding bags. I have them all over my house. They negate the charge, electromagnetic charge, the EMF that's coming through in your houses everywhere. So I have them in every room in the house and in the beds to reduce that charge on our bodies that can wreak havoc. Now, the other thing is, let's move into, so we've talked about sleep, we've talked about alcohol, we've talked about water. Let's talk about movement. Right? This is the thing, make movement a non-negotiable, even if it's 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, make it a non-negotiable, knowing the mid-afternoon for me between 1 and 2 can be kind of a down. How many of you guys kind of your energy starts to drop, it starts to slip, right? So getting grounded with Mother Earth is huge for your mental health, your creativity, your energy. So getting outside, even when it's cold, and just bundling up. How many of you go for a brisk walk and maybe you're have to convince yourself to do it in the middle of the day because there's so many other things going on, but then you go do it and you come back so much more energized. That even 10 or 15 minute walk to the end of the street, getting some oxygen and sunshine and grounding with Mother Earth, I guarantee you the ROI on that when you come back, you're going to get more out of the next hour that you work on your business than had you tried to push through, right? Okay. I actually, like I said, I have it booked in my calendar. Consider booking it in your calendar so that it is literally treated like an income producing activity, like your activity that you do in your media, right? You know, you have to go in and connect. You know, you have to go in and make posts. You know, you have to be present on social media to grow your business. Know that you need to move your body and take care of it to grow your business. Okay, let's talk about food, right? Healthy meals are a priority for performance, guys. They just are. And if that's not your thing and you're just you don't have much of a plan with your health and nutrition and you're just eating crap and you know that you are, know that it's going to impact your business. Let me tell you a couple of easy tips. Number one, there's meal delivery services based on your budget. There's Home Chef and there's Green Chef. Home Chef is not organic. It's a lower price point. Green Chef is organic. It's a little bit higher price point. We use Green Chef. It takes the meal planning out of it. All you have to do is literally cook the food, right? If you want to buy more locally and you're on a budget, I can guarantee you nearly every single grocery store today on the end caps in their stores has a meal planning package. They're competing with the meal delivery services. Every grocery store I go into has end caps of meals for the week. Pick some out that are relatively healthy, bring them home and be done for some of the days where you need to be eating fresh, home cooked foods, but you don't have the time to meal plan, right? Occasionally order some healthy food out if you have to. If life is crazy busy, maybe a spouse is out of town, splurge for the DoorDash for the vegan restaurant down the street, right? Remember, you're investing in yourself versus eating that crappy frozen pizza, okay? Breath work. This is another one I wanted to talk about. If you are having a super stressful day, I've had some moments this month where shit has just hit the fan for one reason or another. And it can be really simple to go into a tailspin and have it impact the next task you're moving to. One of the best things you can do is just pause, take some deep breaths, very deep breaths for just usually within 90 seconds, an emotion passes through your body, right? So the thing is, take those 90 seconds, take that deep breath work and move yourself and transition to the next topic, right? And the last thing I wanted to talk about that I really kind of hit on earlier in kind of my tips and tricks is that morning meditation is so important because the average American goes from the moment they wake up to an alarm to go straight into action. They don't give their brains any free space or time to think or pontificate or process what is going on in life. They're constantly moving from point A to point B. Most people get up, they go straight to the shower, they go straight to the kids, they go straight to their tasks, they go straight to prepping lunches, they go straight to conference calls for work. They've given themselves zero time to invest in their own mental health and process their day, their intentions, where they're headed, what they want to achieve. So if this means giving yourself 10 extra minutes where you have to wake up 10 extra minutes to give yourself that time, it will level set your day in a much better way when you set your own intentions and what you want to achieve and start your morning with gratitude. It's a ripple effect, and we'll talk about the ripple effect again in the next podcast. So enough with that. So the last thing I'm going to chat with you guys about today is really around time management, right? Time management. So the key is, again, I really suggest two things. Go buy yourself the 4-Hour Work Week. It's an incredible book for those of you working full time. Also, go grab my last 2 podcast episodes on time management. One of them is around time management as an entrepreneur running multiple businesses. And then most recently, I dropped a podcast on time management while working full time and growing a social selling business. So I'm not going to delve into that today, but I'm going to give you my life hacks that I use right now for my health, right? My mental health, my physical health that I think all of you guys can benefit from. But before I dive in, the first thing I would ask you, and we talked about this in the beginning, is to take a look at your day and ask yourself, am I overly committing in my calendar, right? What am I committing to? And that I can allow to fall off the table. You have to be willing to let things fall off the table if you feel like there's no space in your life to take care of yourself. If you're not making space in your life to take care of yourself, you're doing it wrong. Why are you here? Why are you on this planet? Are you on this planet to just serve to everyone else's needs until you collapse? Absolutely not. Why are we doing the do? Why are we doing the things? Why are we showing up to gain the things, the money, the title, the income, right? For what? Not to throw your health in the trash, not to just slowly lose yourself, right? It's for freedom and for time freedom, financial freedom to do the things, to be, right? To be present. So we have to remind ourselves, if there's not enough time in our day to take care of ourselves, what the hell are we doing? Right? I go back to reminding you, your body is your vessel. That is your income producing asset that impacts your business. It impacts your decisions. It impacts your response. It impacts your innovation. It impacts your energy level with your team. And if you're not taking care of yourself, I can guarantee you're getting about 50 to 60% of what you could get in your business if you took care of yourself. Every top business owner, when you interview these top entrepreneurs, people who are crushing it, every single one of them is in incredible health because they realize how important their health is to their business. Okay. So here are some life hacks. Number one, if you need to get into a guided meditation practice and you're not sure where to start, pick Gaia is a really good app, GIA. I believe it's how you spell it. Plan ahead. Pick your guided meditation on the app the night before. 5-minute, 10-minute guided meditation. Pick your topic. Set your earbuds or your noise canceling earphones beside your bed. Make it goof proof so that when the alarm goes off, it is very minimal effort. You reach over and grab your headphones, put them on your ears and hit play while you lay in the bed. Give yourself 10 minutes of dessert before the day starts, investing in your mental health and intention and gratitude for the day, right? Life hack number 2. Lots of you guys are working out from home right now, especially with the Peloton. One of the things I love to do is bookmark my workouts the day before. Bookmark them. Be ready so that when the morning hits or your mid-lunch workout, you're not fumbling through trying to figure out and wasting time what you're going to work out on. Pick it the night before. Then you just hit play. I know exactly what I'm going to do in 45 minutes this morning. I'm going to ride my bike. I know exactly the 30-minute ride I'm going to ride. I'm actually really looking forward to the playlist because I already looked at it last night, right? Proactively book movement in your calendar. Like I said before, whether you work a full-time job, you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. You own your calendar. Most of you working from home, you own your calendar. You can make your health a priority by blocking 30 minutes in your day. I don't care who you are, you can make the time. If you can make time to do a grocery run in the middle of the day, to make phone calls for your bills in the middle of the day, there's a lot of bullshit that you make time for in the middle of the day. Why wouldn't you make time to take care of yourself? Block it in your calendar and treat it like the income producing activity that it is to take care of your vessel that impacts your business. Okay. Next hack, throw away perfection. My team and I were just talking about this yesterday. Jackie, my IT expert, was telling me, she's like, the one thing I love about working with you is you don't let perfection get in the way. You just go. Done is better than pontificating on making it perfect and never getting it done, right? So do away with perfection in all things of life, especially for the moms who want like the perfect parties and they're going to Pinterest and they're perseverating and spending hours trying to make things perfect. For what? So I want to ask a rhetorical question. For what? Is the perfect party for your kid or is it for the perception of others? And if you're doing things for the perception of others, you will never be happy, right? So one of our favorite things to do with our kids now is we give them a choice. Hey, do you want a birthday party? Or would you rather pick 1 or 2 friends and have a really cool experience together? Right? And so 9 times out of 10, of course, this was pre-quarantine, our kids would pick a really cool experience. We would go to Great Wolf Lodge or to Carowinds. And there's like zilch planning for that. We show up and have a blast. And we actually get to spend that time with our kids versus hours of party planning and crap that kids take home and throw away, half a cake that's not eaten, all those things. We'd rather spend our money on experiences, but we give our kids the option. And it's really worked out nicely. So consider something like that. Now, another thing around time management, right? And we talked about this a second ago. When the guilt sets in, when you're headed off to do something either to take care of yourself, like go to the gym or get a massage, or maybe the guilt sets in when you're going to hit purchase on a meal delivery service because it's a little bit more than what you typically spend on groceries. Or maybe you're looking to invest in a laundry service, anything that you're about to invest in to simplify your life so that you can take care of yourself. If the guilt starts to creep in, What you need to say to yourself is, when I show up and give to myself first and create space for myself, everyone, including my business, will prosper. When I am healthier and happier, I am wealthier. I'm going to say that again. When I am healthier and happier, I am wealthier. We have this one vessel God has blessed us with. One, each of us. How are you serving it so it can serve you, serve your family, and your business at the highest level ROI possible? I hope this has been helpful for you guys. My next episode, I'm really going to dive into a little bit more around the self-love and the ripple effect that energy makes in your life, more than just your business, but your relationships and the people that you love. Hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. For free resources, materials, or information on my coaching services, go ahead over to livethefreelife.co. That's livethefreelife.co. Or check out our Facebook community at Burnout to All Out, and make sure you follow Burnout to All Out on Spotify and subscribe to iTunes. And it would truly mean the world to me if you paused for just a second, gave me that 5-star review of the show, and be sure to share this episode with any burnouts you think would be inspired to go all out after hearing this episode.